innit? It's so cocky, innit?
Hello, good people, and welcome to yet another close of a season. Guys, thank you so much for being with us throughout this entire installment of season two. And so, for the guests that we had for this season, I've said season two many times at this point, really. If you were to design a building that is inspired by music, what would it look like? And what would it feel like? And trust me, you are not ready for the responses. So please grab your favorite beverage or food, depending on how you're feeling or what time you're listening to this episode. And let's dive right in. All right.
Hi Louis, hi Tomorrow by Design. So you asked me a question, if I could design a building or space inspired by music, what would it look like and feel like? Um, so just to be very, I guess, clear on that, I would be drawing from my experience and expertise in sustainability design and community development, obviously. So I envision a space that is inspired by music, more like a dynamic convergence of art, technology, and environmental stewardship. At its core, the building would mirror the fluidity of musical expression through, I don't know, maybe like an organ or like a guitar or something of the sort, which means that the form itself will be very fluid. The curves and lines of the building would not only evoke kind of like a rhythmic pulse of music, but also enhance the structure's aesthetic appeal. So also to ensure that environmental responsibility is taken into consideration, I would utilize locally resourced materials, that's low carbon materials such as recycled composites, and sustainable harvest timber, brick, etc., the things we talk about. Integrating modern energy efficiency, so technologies that would further optimize the building's performance. Um, yeah, so that's just basically in terms of aligning with best practices in sustainable design. So, but with acoustics, so the space would be thoughtfully partitioned into distinct zones to accommodate various musical experiences. So I'd have like a grand performance hall with adaptable acoustics that would serve as the central focus of large-scale events. Then you have smaller, more intimate areas that would also encourage spontaneous music collaborations and community engagement. So each zone itself will have acoustic treatment, which will be tailored to the specific sound profile that would be going into that space. So it ensures a rich auditory experience beyond um, what's it called? Beyond a more mere performance venue. You know what I mean? So let me see, what else could I add? Yeah, I'd have public plazas, obviously. So like an outdoor courtyard, indoor, outdoor spaces, designed to act as community hubs. So inviting everyday interactions and cultural expressions. So I'd have like a feature like a rooftop garden, rainwater harvesting systems, excuse me, and further enforcing the building's environmental resilience while fostering a connection with the context, depending on where it's going to be, definitely. Um, I guess also the technology would play an integral role in this, creating like, sensory spaces. So based on the kind of installations throughout the space, I would convert movement into musical tones. So maybe certain steps have certain tones. So it's like the building itself acts as a musical instrument as well in certain spaces. So visitors would basically participate in a living soundscape. So it's like integrating technology to have musical outlets. So that means that like you're walking or you're touching a wall, there are some sensors in it that produce sound. Yeah, so in certain areas of the building, not necessarily the entire building, but in certain areas of that building. But yeah, I think that's what I would do. Um, just in a nutshell.
I'm Annie Agesa here with you on the pod. And one other question that we asked our guests is, if sustainability was a person in your city, how would they live? How would they travel? And how would they work? And these are some of the responses that we got.
I'm Sanjot and I'm the census architect living here in Nairobi. But today, let's imagine I'm Mr. Sustainability, embodying what it means to live, travel, and work in a way that honors both our environment and our very human experience. Urban dwellers, me included, spend about 90% of their time indoors, whether living, commuting, or working. Yet too often, sustainability efforts focus solely on the planet while overlooking the people who inhabit these spaces. What good is an eco-friendly building if it fails to nurture the comfort, health, and well-being of those inside? In my view, we must care for ourselves before we can truly care for the environment, people, and places before the planet. As Mr. Sustainability in Nairobi, my home will be a sanctuary that awakens every sense. Imagine a living space that greets you each morning with soft natural lighting streaming through expansive windows, air filled with the subtle scent of indigenous flora, and textures that invite both touch and reflection. This isn't just about reducing energy use, it's about creating an environment that heals, comforts, and inspires. Traveling in Nairobi too should be a transformative experience rather than a daily stressor. Right now, many of us navigate the city in crowded, noisy, smelly matatus where the hustle and bustle can be overwhelming. As Mr. Sustainability, I reimagine our urban transit. Picture an electric matatu that doubles as a moving oasis, a space where calming sounds replace blaring music, and where subtle scents evoke a sense of relaxation and possibility. This is not just about greener travel. It's about turning every journey into a mindful sensory experience. My workplace is another canvas where sustainability and sensory engagement intersect. Today, my office, framed by lusted iron sheets and restrictive barred windows, feels more like a cage than a creative heaven. I literally work behind bars. As Mr. Sustainability, I'll transform this space into an open, airy environment where large windows invite nature inside. Indoor plants purify the air and materials chosen not only for their eco credentials but also for the textures and colors they bring to our daily interactions. This isn't a luxury, it's essential. A workplace that nurtures our senses, fosters genuine productivity, and a deep sense of well being. In essence, living, traveling, and working sustainably isn't just about cutting carbon footprint. It's about creating experiences that nourish every facet of our being. I'm the senses architect, and this is my vision for sustainable Nairobi, where every journey, every building, and every workspace invites us to touch more, smell more deeply, listen more, and truly thrive by holistically engaging all our senses in all our indoor environments. And this is making sustainability make sense. Thank you very much.
Hello, TBD. It's Wangeshi. So, interesting question. How would I design a house inspired from music? And I had to stop myself from overthinking because I had gone into like instruments and stuff. But what I thought finally was like, I thought about my personal taste in music. I love any language music like Albanian, Indian, okay, specifically a lot of Indian. I love Ariana Grande. I like TikTok sounds, some nice ones, yani. These underground ones. And what I thought was I will design a space that can accommodate different moods and different states of mind. So I'll have a space that is like summery, because sometimes my music is like, Lana Del Rey, colorful, shiny, sunshine, summer songs. And then I'll also have like maybe a spot where it's just vague, by vague, what do I mean? I mean a space where it's like just blank that allows you to daydream and yeah, what else? Which others? Yeah, so I'll just design a space that can accommodate like my very diverse moods with no in between. Like they're not so black and white, just very diverse.
Hi, I'm Vincent Ngethe. If sustainability was a person in my city, they'd live close to downtown in a mixed use building with a greasy spoon nearby. The building would have proper water and sewer, none of that borehole septic bad habit Nairobi is so famous for. It would also have solar panels, green roofs crammed full with birds' nests, neighborhood parks and wetlands for walks, public libraries, halls, theaters, swimming pools. A safe, connected city that allows for spontaneity. You can think up something and just do it, day or night. Street lights that work. Public transit. Nice, large buses with 100+ passengers with trams, regularly scheduled. Bike paths, footpaths, with everyone cycling everywhere. Fresh produce markets that actually compete with supermarkets. Broadband internet everywhere. Flexible working hours in offices using up historic buildings and disused factories, bringing life to forgotten, polluted parts of our city.
Hi, what my space would look like if it was inspired by music. I think it will be the best sight to see for any human being and any animal in this planet, because I feel like music connects us. Animals love music, cows, elephants, whoever. Humans love music. So I feel that that building will draw nature, living things to it. And honestly, the first thing that came to my mind when I read this is the fact that when people ask me what's your favorite genre, I can't even place it because I love so many different types of music. It's so varied. It's so weird. Like you can find me listening to some music and you're like, you listen to that? But I love variety. I love rhythms. I love dancehall. I love classical music. I love ounce. I love blues, 60s blues. I like rock. Like I can't even define it into one thing. And I feel like my building will definitely look like that. But if there's one aspect of all the music that I like is the fact that it makes me move. Like I will sway, I will step, like I'll just move. So the building will have a lot of movement, carving. Um, it will feel like you're dancing as you move through the space, and it will be very varied. Like the space will have eccentric colors in some sections. It will have some chilled, relaxed, quote not depressing, but quote unquote blue tones in some sections, because I mean the days I just want to listen to some sad music. The sections which will be feeling like African and jazzy because I love African jazz. So the building will just have information variety. And I feel like we crave that, especially in an age of just looking at screens and looking at one thing. Hakuna variety. So I think it will be a sight to behold. It will have movement and it will have variety and it will have color, and you can relax, you can be playful, you can, all your human emotions will be taken care of. Yeah.